Tanya Hart here. Thank you for joining us on Hollywood Live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hollywood Live. My guest today is a longtime friend, and you know her as an actress and activist. I'm talking about the great Holly Robinson Peete and her daughter, Ryan, are joining me. I am so excited. Hi, ladies.
Hi, Tanya. We're so happy to talk to you.
So happy to be here.
Absolutely. It's so nice to meet you, Ryan, because I haven't seen you since you were a really, really little girl. Like, I think on the beach in Martha's Vineyard, actually.
That's exactly
Wow.
where it
So that's a really long time.
You were 3 years old.
It's been a minute. Yeah, but she
Very
remembers.
long.
That's good. That's great. Well, it's very interesting because, Holly, you and your husband have always been on the right side of history for so many, many, many things. And you've had some challenges in your life, but you just keep going. Ryan, I'm looking at you. You're just drop dead gorgeous, as they used to say back in my day. But you've had some issues, and you guys are in New York talking about attention deficit disorder. Why? Tell me about that.
Well, October is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That's a mouthful. That's why I just have to say ADHD.
Right, ADHD.
ADHD Awareness Month. And so we're here in October. We're in New York. We're talking about the awareness of this disorder because, Tanya, for years we've advocated for autism because Ryan's twin brother RJ has autism. But during the advocacy days, all those years, there were some signs of ADHD with Ryan that I totally missed. There were personality traits that she had that I just thought that's just how Ryan is. But she was really struggling to, do certain things, complete chores. She was inattentive, kind of spacey in her thought processing. And so it was really difficult for her to it was challenging to just go through life every day. And from a mom's point of view, I'm just thinking, okay, she's the one that doesn't have autism, so she's fine. And I was on her about everything, like moms do. Why can't you do this? Why can't you figure this out? What's going on with your personal relationships? And come to find out when she was about 14 that she had ADHD. And it presents itself in different ways. A lot of people don't know that. I think some of us think it's the hyperactivity part. We think it's a kid that just can't keep still. But there's an inattentive version of ADHD, which Ryan has, and it really unlocked a lot of questions for us.
Ryan, I know that your brother was on the autism spectrum, and you knew that growing up. How did that affect you, and did you realize that you were having some kind of an issue yourself?
Well, when you have, at least in my experience, having a twin brother with autism, there was a lot of pressure on me to be this perfect twin. And so in school, when I wasn't performing as well as my peers or would struggle with my friendships and be really spacey and stuff, I beat myself up about it a lot because I just thought there was something wrong with me. And I would think to myself, why can't I just be like normal? Like, why do I struggle with all of these things? Like, I just don't understand. And then when I finally got that diagnosis, it just cleared everything up for me. And I was like, okay, now I can, put a label to why I struggle with these things. I honestly just didn't realize that it was an issue until I got that diagnosis. Up until I got the diagnosis, I just thought there was just something wrong, that I was just like weird.
Well, first of all, you're so blessed to have such wonderful parents and grandparents and friends and everybody that's really supported you guys in this. And the fact, though, Holly, that you guys have put this out there, you've been so open, and you've helped so many people, especially on that autism front. Because for African Americans, we just don't talk about these things. How many kids have we lost to this, literally lost, because they didn't know what was going on?
Yes, in our community, we just have this stigma that we don't want to talk about mental health stuff, and we shut down. And so one of the reasons why we knew we wanted to speak out about autism, with RJ, is because there was not enough awareness in our communities, in Black and Brown communities, about the diagnosis. And our kids were getting diagnosed 2 to 5 years later than other communities. And much like autism, ADHD is very similar. Our kids get told that they're bad or they're wrong or something's wrong with them, or why can't they do this or why can't they do that? Oftentimes they get punished, sometimes physically, for doing things they're not supposed to be doing. And we have a culture that it's all about behaving and make sure you do what you're supposed to do. And sometimes, what happens is, our kids can't help it. And these are things, the inactivity, the inattentivity, the inability to pay attention, the disconnecting, the spaciness, the inability to complete chores. In some households, that's just you being bad and just not doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? And so, my grandmother and them would just say, that has a name to it. That's just not listening and being bad. And so I think in our communities, it's important that they go to the More to ADHD website and really look at what some of these symptoms are, because Ryan and I would go at each other sometimes because I couldn't understand why she couldn't follow through on very simple tasks. And I had to redirect her so many times, and it was frustrating for her, frustrating for me. And when we found out that she had ADHD, it just opened, as Ryan said, to just clear the cobwebs, and we were able to get some resources and work on it. Ryan, who was applying for colleges at the time.
No, this was like right before I said.
Oh, right. You were diagnosed when you were 14.
Yeah.
But eventually you still had to apply for colleges knowing that you had ADHD, and it was helpful to you to do that.
Yeah, definitely getting that ADHD diagnosis made everything so much more helpful in terms of applying to college and even just my post-grad life as well, just navigating and making sure that I can adjust my life so it caters to me and my ADHD and everything. Like when I was applying for schools, I made sure to apply to SAT and ACT optional schools. I applied to art schools and just schools that I knew would cater to my brain.
Wow. Yeah. And here's the thing. Look at you today. I mean, you're very successful. You are a college graduate. You're going on with your life. And I know you will do wonderful and activist things like your parents, because you can't help it. It's in your DNA. So all of that being said, I think that you are such a testament to what can be done when you know what you're working with, when you know what you have to do.
Yeah.
So what are you ladies doing in New York? Because I know that there's something special going on in New York about all this.
Yes, we're here doing October's is ADHD Awareness Month, and we're here telling people to go to the More to ADHD website to really get as much information as they can, resources about ADHD. And we're also, Tanya, really talking about neurodiversity. That's a term you don't hear a lot, especially in our community. Embracing people who process things differently and think differently. We are a diverse community. Humankind is diverse. But in the African American community specifically, like we don't all think the same. We don't all process things the same.
Right.
So we're talking about how having ADHD is being part of a neurodiverse community. And that's something that we have to start thinking in terms of, start embracing with compassion and with empathy, because the more we can do that, the more we can help each other learn and grow and be successful in this world. So it's something we're really excited about doing as mother and daughter. Ryan said she was a little 3-year-old, and here she is, still working her way through life and dealing with a lot of these issues, but with more compassion, more information, more resources.
Is this something that you can eventually, do you grow out of it? Does it get better? Do you take medication? What do you do to help yourself out?
I think everybody is different, but I think you just learn to manage it. Everybody's going to have different stimuli. Everybody's going to respond to different ways of treating ADHD. And that's why it's important to go to this website, go to More to ADHD, and really see where you fit in on that, in that scale and what could work for you. But for me, I think it's no matter what kind of treatment you choose, I think it's about being compassionate and being patient and accepting of ADHD and what comes with it.
And what should parents look? I mean, you've talked a lot about the symptoms, and Ryan, you were mentioning some of the things you went through, but are there some very specific things that parents should, when they see their children do this, that, or that, then maybe they should call a pediatrician or call a doctor or something? What are those symptoms?
Well, all I can speak on really mostly is for us, but I do know I have a lot of friends who have ADHD or have children with ADHD. some of the things are like Ryan was saying in it, you know, not being attentive, not being able to close circles of chores and having to be redirected all the time, having poor social relationships and connections with other people in school and just in life. And there are a lot of different ways that it can present itself. The inactive ADHD is what Ryan has. So there are 3 different types of ADHD: inattentive, hyperactive, and compulsive, and combined. With Ryan, hers was the inattentive kind. In other words, she was unfocused and hazy, kind of spacey. And you know, we're just like, oh, that's just Ryan. She's just kind of like that. She's spacey Ryan. She takes longer to express herself. And, you know, we didn't realize that these were internal struggles for her, that there was an actual diagnosis for her. So I, being the autism advocate and doing all the things I was doing, was naive to a lot of these signs. So I'm thinking if I'm somebody who's paying attention to everything, and I miss it, then a lot of other parents might miss it as well.
Yeah, and it really does make a big, big difference in your life. But you know what? Everything works out when you really work through it. I've got to ask you. So Ryan, now that you're a college graduate, which still is blowing my mind, just because how'd you get to be, you know, that age already? What are you working on? What's your next thing in life?
Well, I graduated from NYU a year and a half ago, and my post-grad journey's been interesting because I graduated in COVID. So it's been like everything kind of was like on pause for a while, but now that things are starting to open up again, I'm a singer-songwriter, I make music. And so I've been putting out music, and it's what I went to school at NYU for. And that's really mainly what I've been spending a lot of my energy towards, that and just, you know, taking care of myself and keeping myself mentally okay.
Oh, we got another budding musician coming up. I love it. And Miss Holly Robinson, what are you're always, I don't know, talk about the original Energizer Bunny. That would be you know, and Rodney.
You know, I get it from my mama. You know,
I was going to say, and you get it from that Dolores lady. Oh my gosh. Who I got to tell you, you're both so gorgeous and you look just like her. For everybody out there, look up, you know, Dolores Robinson. She is the original Hollywood diva. You know, from way, way, way back when nobody knew what the word was. That's your mama.
Yes, sure is.
We love her. She's managed you and many other great people in this industry over the years. But what are you working? I know you've got some project that you're working on. You got another show that we're going to see you on soon.
Yes. I'm so excited about it, Tanya. I just finished working on a movie called Our Christmas Journey. It's going to be on Hallmark Channel. It's about a family with autism at Christmas time. And so this is, you know, very near and dear to my heart, semi-autobiographical, some of our journey and other people's journeys combined. But, you know, I've always wanted to do a Christmas movie about a family dealing with autism at Christmas time. And this is a real special one. So I'm really excited to come on December 4th on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. We literally just finished shooting it like just a couple of weeks ago. But already I feel like it's taking shape and it's going to be really a special film.
Oh, good. Well, maybe we can get a little trailer to put into this story that we're doing with you. Who knows?
That would be awesome.
If it's available, I would love to do that. One last word. You know, you and Rodney, like I said, you've been such a force, not just in entertainment, but just really for helping so many people with a lot of social issues. What would you speak to? Because, and you've had challenges, you know, with your children and certain kinds of mental health things. What would you say to other families who are struggling, but somehow you guys have managed to stay together, which is not easy, and to keep going and to keep pushing in the right direction? What would you say to people? What gives you the courage? How do you keep going? And especially
well, I would, if you are a faithful person, I would say you lean on your faith for sure. That's always helpful. For Rodney and I, we built a team around our kids. So Team RJ and his autism was, you know, a ferocious team. You know, we didn't take no for an answer. We were between Ryan, our family, you know, grandmother Dolores, and a whole slew of other people who were behind him. So I would say build a team around your child because you're not always going to be there to get his or her back. Create an awareness and compassion in your community. It doesn't have to be your family because sometimes family doesn't get it. sometimes they don't understand, right? Took a while to explain what autism was to some of our family members. So, and then, just continue to advocate and build in self-advocacy. So, one of the things I love about this campaign that we're doing is that Ryan is learning to basically, put messaging points out that are not just about, this disorder she has, but about putting forth her desires for her own self. And so I just think that's very important to instill in our kids, giving them self-esteem, embracing them for who they are, and celebrating them. So I would say build that team, stay faithful, never, ever stop advocating. And the other one I would say finally, Tanya, is never, ever let somebody set limitations for your child. When I think about what they told us that RJ was never going to do, I just cannot believe that 20 years ago, this woman told us all these things. Bless her heart, I'm sure that she did best with what she had at that time. But to say that he would never speak and thrive and have meaningful employment, all these things, and Ryan was there at every step of the way with us for this diagnosis and everything. I'd say that he has, he's done all that. He drives, he works, he has a World Series championship ring working for the Dodgers. I mean, it's a milestone. Still has his issues. And you mentioned ADHD earlier. Can you get over it? I think he just learned to manage it. And same with Ryan. I mean, there are things that, we didn't think she would ever be able to do when we got this diagnosis that she's already managing so well.
And just lovely. It's so good to see both of you. Oh my goodness. Please give your mom my best and a big hug. Everybody has done well with COVID, I know, because I know you've been very careful in protecting yourself and everybody else out there. Thank you.
We've tried to. No, I was just going to say, it's always so great to see you. You look fabulous. And I can't wait to talk to you again.
I know. Can't wait to see you again the next time. But back here on the West Coast.
Yes.
Okay. We'll get together. Ryan, congratulations for all the stuff you've done. I know that you have a stellar career and life ahead of you with whatever you want to do, girl.
Oh, thank you.
You do. I'm not even worried about it. I know that's happening. Thank you so much for joining me. Come back anytime.
You got it. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for joining in today. We always have something great here for you. So, check us out. Go to our website. You can see all the other great stories and all of the other great stuff on our YouTube page, including this. And if you have some issues that you think need to be addressed in terms of, I hope I'm getting it right, attention deficit disorder. I know I left out something, but just go to the website. We'll put it up on our website so you'll know where to go. Thanks, everybody.